Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I'm with my good friend Bob Meatbag.
Hey, Meatbags. This is Bob Meatbag.
And today we're going to be going through his digital sketchbook. So I mentioned that I had done, or I showed that I'd done this thing where I do studies every day, and I'm not alone.
Yes, I do it too.
He does it too. We're deviants. We do it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. We do everything together.
No, we don't. Oh no. All right.
Okay, anyways. On to the image. So, this is I think, one of the very first things that I did beginning with, when we started doing this thing of, taking an hour every day to do these types of studies. And for the first one,
what is
this one is a self-portrait.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is just when I first attempted to draw myself, and it was hard because it's like drawing yourself while looking in the mirror or something. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah. So this was the first one, and this one is the second one, which now that I look at it is much worse than the first one because I think. Well, the first one, I was trying to be loose and, just get used to things and just be more free. And then by this one, I tried to be more realistic. And by doing that, I created my own downfall because it became much more rigid, doesn't have as much energy. So, that just came out as that. As you can see, this one is much better. Okay, moving on. Oh my god. I think this is one of the worst ones that I've done. I remember now. These two I did from a photo. And then I realized, oh no, that's not how you do self-portraits. You do self-portraits by looking in a mirror. So this was my first attempt, and I had never really painted before. So this is what came out. And it's blood ugly.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere.
What a way to start. But yeah, that was the first self-portrait. This is the second, and it's much better, but it ended up looking like a character from King of the Hill. It just looks like one of the characters, right? I don't know who, but
yeah.
Hank Riddell or a
the other one kind of looked like it could belong in King of the Hill as well.
Yeah, I think it like one of the Asian characters.
All right.
Yeah, so that's the other one. This one does have an improvement, so this one's a Dave Raposa study. This one is a cloud, but it's actually a Michael Komark study, and this is just the background. This is me doing Komark to try to learn some painting or something.
Yeah, so at this point you were trying to learn how to paint, I guess.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll do this.
I mean, it looks nice. Like the metal's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I did learn something from doing metal and stuff like that, like the sharp transitions. But yeah, it is what it is, I suppose.
I don't think it was bad.
It's okay.
Compare this to where you were starting from.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this is. Oh yeah, here we go. This is once again looking at life, and in the previous one, this one, it's like there's not much color. It's pretty difficult. But for this one, I just had my hand out, and then I just tried to paint it. And it was hard. It was really hard doing this type of just looking at life. It really forces you it makes it so that you can't be comfortable.
So you're drawing your hand with you had one hand out and then the other hand was drawing?
Yeah, it was drawing and it was painting. And then I think I think with this we didn't color pick, right?
Nope.
I don't think I color picked with this.
No, I don't think you can because you're drawing your own hand.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's...
Yeah, Photoshop's not that good yet that you can start color picking from real life.
You can't bypass that barrier yet. But yeah, so that was that. It was difficult. And then Here I just went back to my drawing, just to boost my self-esteem again, because I needed to get back to my comfort zone.
Your drawings are so great. Can you
Yeah.
zoom in on the bottom row?
Yeah, I can do that.
I really like this, like the goblin dudes.
Yeah. It's this thing where I had so much more experience with drawing than painting, and it was just much more natural for me to just draw things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I still have a long way to go before I can really get color or experience with color and painting. This is the hand one again. Once again, you can't color pick, but I think it's a bit better. Back to drawings. Some cowboy character. More drawings here, and more drawings.
So these are Kim Jong-gi studies?
Yeah, these two, I think. This one is a Kim Jong-gi character. This one is a Kim Jong-gi drawing. The rest is my own. But
So what's the X mean?
the X means I think it's screwed up.
No.
It's not right. It's ugly. It's a sign of my frustration. But I've been told that is a really retarded idea. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Here's some life drawing stuff. As you can see, more X's of dissatisfaction. Here we go into this one. I think I did okay with this one.
There's cool ones in this. The bottom row, there's like a cyborg looking dude.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, I love him. And then
Yeah.
at the top, there's a Walder Frey looking dude.
Yeah, old man Frey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, I think this one was actually. Oh, this one, that one's also really Walter Frey like. But I think this was my first YouTube video that I did.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Like I recorded this
Wow.
for a YouTube video.
Okay, so this is June 2013.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, moving on. I think this is when I started really getting better. This is like me painting my modem and my table, and then it's just
That's
like, oh,
much
this.
better.
Yeah, this one's okay.
Much better. Takes time though, huh?
Yeah, it does take a while, but I think that's the thing. Just like when you can't color pick, it really sort of forces your level to go up in the beginning.
Yeah, like you go down because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But then when you finally get a hang of it, it's like, oh, okay, you can make big jumps.
Yeah. It really forces your eye to just pay attention. The next one is basically my modem, except I made him into a character, and then pretty simple. Once again, moving into real life stuff, and it takes a while to get things into place and to start painting. So more of the same thing here. But I feel as though it's just like after a while I do start to get a feel for the materials.
So this is looking a lot better.
Yeah. This one's
Like I
It's
feel the texture more on this with the plasticky thing.
Yeah, like when I was. Here's the thing. It's sort of like when you're just looking at it, and when you're not color picking and you're just going from your eye, it's sort of like you sort of have to start figuring out how is the light transferring through this material, and then it's like, okay, how much of it is how much value transition shows and that kind of stuff. And once when you really start thinking about that kind of stuff, you actually start pulling it off. At the time, I remember that I was really frustrated with this piece, but it's like looking back now, it's just sort of like, yeah, it does look like plastic.
Why were you frustrated with it?
It's just because it was so hard. Because it's just
yeah.
sort of like thinking, well, how does this? Because like when you take a look at this, it's like okay, so it looks different when you have this plastic sort of blocking this thing, but it's still coming through.
Yeah.
So then you have to just, for me anyways, I had to think, it's like, okay, how much of the value transition is showing? How much of it is more paler than the side of this part that's not blocked? And then it's like, it's simple when I say it, but it's like when I was doing it, it was just really difficult.
Yeah.
But at the end, I think it went okay. So here's going back into drawing again. These characters, I think I was looking at some reference of like people from the 50s or something. I just like the look of it. I think this character, you said, it looks like J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, it looks like J. Jonah Jameson.
Parker! Anyways. Here's some more characters.
That guy's cool.
Yeah, I like the guy in the middle. I think he was a pretty good success. Let's move on to the other one. some more drawings.
That's really cool with the hammock. And
Yeah. Like with the hammock, I was just doodling around, and I didn't really know what to draw, but it was just like, maybe some guy's just imagining something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really just waiting for inspiration to come along. Here's my pants that I put on top. I was trying to understand folds with this one, and I don't think I really got anything out of it, but here's me trying to understand. I put some cloth on top of a bowl, and then I was just basically trying to understand, okay, how is it going over it, that kind of stuff. So more life studies.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. More hand stuff with cloth. Same thing. Some characters. Some more drawings and a little bit of a hand painting. More of this stuff. So basically the same, really.
So like you'll do your painting things and you kind of get tired and go back to a drawing thing?
Yeah, just to relax. Sometimes just taking a break, like when you're doing something really hard and you're frustrated, sort of sometimes just having a little break, just to do the thing you're comfortable with is a nice refresher. It takes away the stress and reminds you that it's like, oh hey, you're still okay in some things. So there's some more drawings, here. Oh, and this is the phase when I really started looking at Craig Mullins.
Yeah.
And then and I was just like thinking, man, how does this guy do the things that he's doing? Because it's like every picture that he has is just really good. So it's just like,
it's always got this dynamic feeling. The compositions, it feels like you're involved with it.
Yeah. And it was before, it was just like whenever I tried to make a composition, I'm really trying to force an idea.
Yeah.
And then I was just like thinking, how am I going to place this character here, this character over here? And then sometimes I might get a success, sometimes I might not. But looking at Mullins, it's just this thing of like, he really knows how to place the camera. And then it's just like, okay, where are the characters? How do they fit into the picture? What kind of shapes does it create overall? And you can see with some of these, like, this one is actually like, I think there's two characters here, but I just simplified them into shapes, going like, how do they occupy the space?
Yeah.
Where are they placed? Why is it making it such like a good image?
What I really like about his stuff is that he will make parts cut off, or it's almost like you're walking into an event, not that like what most artists do, and myself included, is we tend to frame things like. You think of it like, okay, so this person's within this frame. And he does it more like you were just carrying a camera and you happened upon like this person's like, whoa, cool.
Yeah, it really makes it so that it's more like you stumbled upon this moment in this world. And
it's it is a world. It's
yeah.
It's not just like one, like, oh, it's a dude in a background. It's like, no, it's a dude in a world.
Yeah, because like previously when I was working on compositions, it's sort of like, oh, you want to get everything, you want to get the image clear.
Yeah.
So like, okay, place this character in this specific position, have everything pointed at this character, make sure nothing's cut off. And it's just like, no, he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
He makes
yeah. And actually we learned that in animation school to put spotlights and make your composition simple, but that's because in animation you're seeing a frame and it's like 1/24 or 2/24 of a second, and so it has to read immediately. And it has to be very obvious, whereas...
with single images, it's sort of like you can take your time.
Yeah.
And then because of that, there's a lot of room to play with.
Mind you, you still look right where you're supposed to with his images.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he really knows... Like, that's the thing. It's like there's always ways to go around the rules or bend them a little bit, you know? And he knew how to do it really well. But yeah, so that's some Mullins studies. This, I think this was just when I was experimenting with like painting again, going like, how can I just do this?
Yeah.
And this one was okay, but ultimately, I don't know. I think I had to take the painting a little, sort of put it in the back burner for a little bit. But overall, I think during this time, I was just really jumping around, going like, oh, what can I do?
I really like this one.
Yeah. This one, I think it was when I was doing Mullins studies.
Oh, yeah.
It was, but
it's got a really good mood to it. So this isn't a study of Mullins. This is just
this is just me like trying to take what I learned from Mullins and making a composition with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. It's like, you take a look at somebody and you might copy them a little bit, but it's like the main idea is you're trying to get what they have and then incorporate it into your own thing.
Yeah.
So, doing something which doesn't have any other images open that you're copying is like a good way of, really see if you really learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on to the next one. Here's just more painting practices, and I don't think they all really worked out all that well.
So each day is 1 hour.
Yeah. And it was just me just sort of like, trying to experiment with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some more of this, and these are horrible.
You're experimenting, so, I mean...
Yeah, I think, like, with these kinds of things, it's like, the really important part is like, if you experiment, you will have failures.
Yeah.
But it's good to get those things out of the way.
Yeah, because, when you fail, you realize, oh, okay, so that's a color combination I won't use. And you're more likely to use one that does work. And then, in the end, people will be like, how come you know what colors to pick? And it's like, because I did stuff like this.
Yeah.
I did colors that didn't work, so I learned what does work.
Yeah, you know which ones to avoid from now on.
Yeah.
So, there's some more drawings in. I think I was painting this one drawing that I have this orc monster or this pig monster, that kind of stuff. And I think I'm starting to get more into drawing again, which is where I'm really comfortable. But I think, it was only for this one day.
I like the rabbit samurai a lot.
Yeah, he was a cool character. But this was not the original drawing. I was looking at the original drawing and tried to copy that, which... when I think about it, might have been a mistake, because like when you copy, like when you go after something, one thing like this is the perfect version, it can be a bit of a detriment at times. But yeah, it's still okay. Here's a study of another artist, Heavy Metal Hansel, I think. This was just some more experiments. I think this was when I was trying to. Yeah, I was trying to. This version, I tried more painterly. This one, I tried to be like, okay, what happens if I change the style a bit?
I like the one on the left looks like an Amano illustration.
You know what? I think I was looking at some Amano stuff, and then I was drawing this, and it's just like, oh yeah, this kind of looks like it. Here's a little bit of noir, Robert Valley, just trying out the deep shadows and stuff like that. And there's more coloring stuff. There's some more compositions. No, not compositions, just ideas for buildings, I think. And I didn't know this until later, but apparently this was Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was drawing Muhammad Ali at the time. I was just like, oh, he's just some random black dude. No, he's one of the best boxers in the history. But yeah. I was just jumping around a lot during this time.
So you didn't do the one on the bottom left?
Oh, no. No way. This is Seller FCP. If I could do his work, I would just... I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. But yeah, like... just experimenting a lot at this time just to try out, what really works. This is not my work again. This is Seller FCP. And this is just me trying to get a bit of his style, I suppose, when it came to painting. Here's a bit more on like architecture.
It's nice.
Just experimenting once again. Here's a bit more compositions. Let me zoom in so it looks a bit more clear. This is, I think, this is a portrait. I was just trying out drawing the guy. I don't think I finished it. Some more of this character.
Good shapes on this character.
Yeah,
it's very like animation-y.
Yeah. It was good to have these shapes in my repertoire because it helps to create appeal.
Yeah.
Appeal is really important.
Yeah.
There's some more stuff.
Man, the guy's really cool.
This one?
No, like he's cool too, but there's a guy on the back. Like, go back one.
Okay.
You're going through them too quick. That guy,
okay.
that angel, that man.
Yeah,
Whoa.
He was a good character. I remember doing him, and it's just sort of like, this is working out. The shapes are nice. The design is okay. Let me see if, okay, this is the
The design is okay. Jesus.
We all do this. But yeah, that's that one. And I think this is the colored version of this one. And this is me trying to color the angel design, but I don't know. It was difficult. I was still struggling with color at this time. Here's another character that I started coloring. This one I think turned out okay.
Yeah.
I think this is when I was trying to play around a little bit with weight. Here's another character that I was trying out with sort of a cell shading technique. And this one,
this anteater dude's so good.
Yeah, he was working out really well. Here is when I was going into some perspective stuff, just trying to,
So are these from imagination or reference?
These are from imagination. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. This one, and just have one whole point perspective and just trying things out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is more of the like these two are pretty much the same as these two, except they're flipped. And then this was when I was getting into a lot of perspective. I really like this one.
Yeah, that one's amazing. Zoom in on it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if I was looking at Robber Valley or Framed Ink for this one, but I was looking at something and getting some energy.
So they're working underneath a plane wing?
Yep, they're working under a plane wing. That's another plane and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to do more, but I never got around to it. Yeah. So let's go into this one, another perspective one. I think I added two perspectives here. One of like in a car in the back alley, and this one is of crossing.
Yeah, the crossing the street one is much stronger.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I really tried to push that one.
Nice.
I think this drawing was of a copy of his digs.
Yeah.
And he's an artist. He's really good. This one is from Imagination. This one I think was also from Imagination. And this one is just an experiment with thin lines to really just, I wanted better, cleaner lines.
Yeah, because you were figuring out like what kind of lines you wanted would fit you.
Yeah. Just a lot of experimentation with that. This one's going back into a bit more of a thicker brush, just because I think overall I was more comfortable with it. And there's some of these sketches. We're trying to work out how clothes work, I think. And here's when I think we both really got into Zagwazev.
Yeah.
There we go. Because his perspective, like, if you look at his stuff, it's just like there's so many perspective points. Or vanishing points, really. And it was just like he had such strong perspective.
Well, it feels super solid.
Yeah, it feels very three-dimensional. So yeah, I just, like, as you can see here, I simplified it into two vanishing points, but there's still, like, a lot going on. And yeah, we really try to get his three-dimensional feeling with these. And this is when I was just trying to work from imagination, or I think these are life drawing, but I tried to take what I got from Zagwazev and then, just try to see if I can incorporate it into my own things.
I mean, that's the important thing, is to do studies for the purpose of not necessarily copying an artist and becoming a clone of him, but of stealing. Like, you're stealing techniques, or you're stealing... Learning maybe is a better word.
Yeah, I think so. It's sort of like you're trying to learn what they have and then incorporate it into your own things.
Yeah.
It's the technique and the skill that you're going after.
Yeah.
Some more Zagwazev. And yeah.
Wow, you were doing this for a while.
Yeah, we were for quite a while.
Wow.
But I think it. Yeah.
Man,
like, I remember this one was really hard, because, like, when you look at the ship,
it's so hard.
I know.
And what I like about his stuff is when you zoom into, like, the details, each thing has its own appealing design. It's like, look at the little anchor. It's not just an ordinary anchor. It's got cool style to it, and, like, the lights coming out of the cabin. Like, every little thing has personality. Even the grain on the wood has
Yeah,
like its
yeah,
own
yeah.
personality to it.
It's like he really gets down the appeal in a micro level.
Yeah,
It's like you take a look at the overall shape, and it's just like, okay, that's really solid.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then you zoom in, and it's just like that's really solid as well.
It's what I noticed with Joe Mad as well. When you look at Joe Mad Urera's work, it's like it's good, and then you zoom in, and it's still good, and still interesting, and everything's got style.
Yeah, yeah. It's just sort of like, oh, these people really learned to peel.
Yeah.
And Morzak was Evan. We worked on him for quite a while.
I think you worked on it way longer than I did, though. Like
I
that's
think
a lot of studies.
I think it was because you got more of his stuff quicker than I did. I was
I
still
don't think
struggling
so.
a little.
I probably quit too soon.
Yeah, maybe. But I remember his. Anyways, moving on. I think this is when I moved on to something else and just experimented with some other things.
Yeah.
This one, I remember like this one. Yeah, yeah. I think I have a more updated version of this one, but I haven't really worked on it. And yeah, this one was interesting. It had something.
It's like a robot in the desert or something.
I think the idea was that he was in like a robot graveyard, and then it was just like just bunch of robot bits everywhere, and these are supposed to be like hills of other robot parts. And then he was sort of the only one that's like he's really busted up, but he's still active. But he's just stuck there.
Yeah.
It was like it was just basically a graveyard for robots. This is the same robot from earlier. This was me just trying out like with this one it has a thicker outer line, and this one is just like a consistent thin line. Just me trying out different types of cleanup. Same thing with this. This one's a lot thinner than this one. Yeah,
people don't really see this type of stuff, like how you have to experiment with what you want for a nice line.
Yeah. One big thing that I learned from this was that, like, with the rough one, you can get away with a lot of things. It's like you take a look at this guy's eye, and it's just sort of like, okay, what is that?
Yeah.
But because it's rough, it's like you can get away with it. It's just like, oh, it's a cool eye. But then when you clean it up, it's sort of like, what is it now?
Yeah, and it's because, like, okay, so, like, go in on the dude's eye again.
Okay.
There's, like, a few lines that could possibly be the outline of the eye. So what happens with your brain is it tends to find the most correct looking one, and it pretends that that's what it sees. It's almost like your brain is editing out all the other stuff. Yeah. But then when you clean it up, what happens is you have to pick a line. You have to be firm about it. Like, no, it is this line that is the correct one. And if that's off, your brain can't play that trick anymore, where it's just like, I'm going to choose to see the right line in this.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's when you really realize it's just like, okay, it's like it's not just cleaning it up. You have to really interpret what you have.
Yeah.
And that's difficult, And then this one's just playing with some deeper shadows. And this one's more cleaned up. This is when I was putting in colors. I was struggling with colors. Like, I wasn't sure what to put in. And I had this one. This one turned out to be pretty graphic, I think.
I like that one.
Yeah. It's got its own thing.
It kind of reminds me of ice cream.
Well, actually, yeah, it does. This is chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
Yeah. It's got the candy colors going on. There's some more of this stuff, and just me experimenting.
I like the green one.
The green one. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one was pretty cohesive. Or more so than the others, anyways.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this was just a drawing I did, and then I wasn't satisfied with this version because I felt as though the shapes were really weak.
What do you mean when you say the shapes are really weak?
It's just sort of like this shape it's not really clear, and with the bag overhead, it's sort of like it's not very clear as well. The silhouette is kind of sort of like you don't really know what's going on. So then with this one, it's just sort of like, okay, this is much more boxy.
Yeah.
And then because of that, the shape is more clear, it's stronger, and it's more appealing. And then it's sort of like, it's figuring out what you need to exaggerate, I think. This is a Zadig. I traced over Zadig stuff just to get a feel for how he was doing things with his thin lines. And you do learn quite a bit when you trace, just to see, like, okay, how did they do something?
Yeah, so this isn't something you would upload and say, like, oh, this is...
No. that would be taking other people's work. And
Yeah.
that could get you into a lot of trouble, and it also doesn't help you out either.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you put this up there and it says, okay, now do something else in a different view, and then what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
So this was a cleanup of one of the guys from earlier. And this is just me trying to, put in the values, see how the shadows work and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Some more experiments. Here I'm doing the same thing. I'm still struggling, I think.
But at least you've got, like, somewhat of a technique now. It seems...
Yeah, I think this is when the technique was sort of... it's still really rough, but as I was developing something.
Yeah.
And, yeah, these kinds of things take a while. And here's some more. And this one just looks really lazy, because I was just going like, well, okay, I just need to make sure the colors work, so then I just tried to draw something really easy, but, I
mean, it's just whatever you have practice on is what you'll get good at. So you have a lot of practice with drawing, and so your drawings are good, but
yeah,
you had less practice with color. So
yeah. So for this, I just tried to spend less time like thinking of, oh, what should I draw, and just go like, just draw something quick and put the colors into experiment.
Yep.
Here's a book. Here's me trying some stuff out with the book, like just putting out random stuff to make the book look like it's more, I don't know.
Weathered?
Yeah, weathered. Yeah, that's the word that I'm looking for. Here's just some drawings of faces and eyes. And I think this is when I was trying to learn how the eye goes into the socket.
Mm.
Lots of these. And I think this... Yeah. I wasn't sure how this happened, but it was just like, I was just drawing something, the shapes were appealing, and then I just added everything else on.
Nice.
Yeah, this one was pretty cool. Here is more of... This is a character that I consistently return to because...
Who that guy? Who that guy?
This guy is Jacques Noir.
Who's the Jacques Noir?
This guy is Jacques Noir.
Whoa.
I think you might have seen his face on my stuff before.
Yeah.
And I think that for this character, I think I really hit the nail on it. And it's just like the shapes are working, the personality is working, and like at the time, I really thought this was my character.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I don't really have anything to draw, it's just like, let's go back to Jacques. I always have him. So with this batch, I started really focusing back on Jacques again, because I felt as though like I nailed Jacques the first time so well, but when I tried drawing him again, I just couldn't. It was difficult, especially it's just like when you hit something.
You did this a while ago, right?
Yeah, a while back.
Years. Was it years?
I think so. Yeah, 1 or 2 years at least. And then when I tried to revisit him, like these sketches weren't my only attempt to revisit him. But it was just this thing, like I just couldn't get it for some reason. And I was looking at the painted version. And what I didn't realize was later that it's like I had to look at the original drawing version to be able to get him back. And then it sort of adds to my feeling that it's like drawing is really important.
Drawing's the king.
Yeah, it's the ultimate. But yeah, so that's that. And this phase was just me trying to, reclaim Jacques and try to get him back. But I didn't get him back until much later. So here I'm moving on and trying out a new coloring style. I think it was something we both learned at the time.
And it's working.
Yeah, like this one was just like, oh, this was one of the first few times I saw my work, and I was like, oh, this looks finished. And then some more Jacques, and then some sketches of Anthony Hopkins, I think. This is going back to the colored stuff.
Yeah, we were both doing these fashion ones, right?
Yeah, we were just taking a look at people with like really interesting fashion sense. And then it's just like we were just finishing them up. I remember this guy. He's funny. This was me experimenting with, trying that style on a background. And
that one works.
Yeah, at the end it finally worked.
Color balance, man.
Yeah, color balance, super important. Helps make everything look good. Here's some more life drawing, I think. I think I was using like a thinner brush at the time. And the thing is like, it's like if you want to get used to something, I always thought that it's just like doing life drawing is a really quick way. Like when I was first getting used to the tablet, it was just like, okay, this is going to take me a while. What's a quick way of letting me get used to it? Just do figure drawing, you know, because then you're too worried about the drawing to really focus on whether or not like you're comfortable with a tablet or not.
Yeah.
And so here's the drawing of a picture of a guy. Some more drawings. This I have a prevalent shape going on, and it's the bean shape. And it's just like, yeah, it's really useful to create something that's appealing. Yeah. I got this stuff going on. This character.
What do you do with the bean?
Basically, I just use it for basically. I can use it for everything. Like I use it here.
Do you flick it?
Do I flick the bean? Finish what you were saying.
So then, what do you do?
Okay, it's like for this, I have the bean, and then I try to fit the anatomy over it. You know, because it's like the bean shape can really go into a lot of things. And then that's what I use. Yeah. Here's a composition, and here's I think people might remember this. This is one of the prompts that I did for
sketches
streams.
for the Meatbags.
Yeah.
Oh, it was for the streams.
Yeah, and then I turned it into a sketches for the Meatbag.
Oh.
So here's Goku. Here's the old people that are eaten by the Pokemon. This was when I saw Cynics doing his like thin. He was like using a 1 pixel brush, and he was drawing things, and it was still looking really awesome. And I got really jealous. And I'm like, "Fuck you, man! I'm gonna do the
who is this artist?
Cynics.
Never heard of him. Oh.
Okay. Same thing. You know, this one I traced over a Japanese artist just because they're awesome. Trying to figure out what they did, and same thing using life drawing, except with thin brush, so I can get used to it. And some more life drawing, more thin brushes, and you know, varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
Some more composition that I did on my sketchbook. And sometimes when I'm not comfortable and I'm really struggling, I just go back to the sketchbook and just draw on there, and then put it into Photoshop because you know, it's more comfortable that way. And this is more Affinity stuff. This is when I was taking a look at Kim Jung-gi, the master, and trying to figure out how he did clothes. And this, I think, was when I was doing the one of the prompts for sketches for the Meatbags.
Yeah. And
the prompt, I think, was an old cat telling its kittens about the Great Milk War, and then this is what I made of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Some more Affinity, some more sketches, more Affinity, and more drawings, and back to coloring experiments, basically. A lot more experiments. I remember this one. Yeah. Just a lot of jumping around, basically.
I like this one.
Yeah, this one. I'm not sure if I was trying to make a baby or a fetus at the time, but this is what it turned out to be.
Yeah, it looks fetusy.
Yeah. This one I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Some more of the same guy. More color experiments. More Affinity stuff. And I think this is when I was getting into like the anime stuff, Kill la Kill specifically. And I was surprised that it's just like when I drew Kill la Kill, it's just like, hey, you know what? There's a little bit of me in here. And then it's like, because like I've always had problems trying to draw other styles.
But yeah, what do you mean by there's a little bit of me in here?
Like what this means is sort of like my style sort of corresponds with Kill la Kill. The shapes that they use, I kind of have with the shapes that I use. And then when I draw it, it's just sort of like, it's much easier than when I have to do other styles. And then it's just like, okay, the things that they have, I have within me. So then I can learn from this. So then, you know,
it's kind of like if you're learning, I don't know, Spanish and Italian, they're sort of related.
Yeah, and because of that, it's just like there's a bridge, and then it's easier to cross compared to other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, some more Affinity. This was a Sexy Sunday, I think. Affinity. And this is the compositions with Craig Mullins studies and stuff like that. Like this is a Craig Mullins, this is a Craig Mullins, this is a Craig Mullins, this is Craig Mullins. This one was from Imagination. These are from Imagination as well. And same with these. The top ones are Craig Mullins and the bottom ones are my own. And, it's really important to just remember to try to do the things that you learn from your imagination. I can't stress
I really
that.
like the ones you did as well.
Yeah. Like, these ones, I'm pretty happy with these ones. They've got good stuff going on. Some more Affinity. This one, once again, composition experiment, except I put the camera really low just to see, like, how does that look? Because I remember in film school, it's like we were taught that, like, have the horizon line either really high or really low. And then, so I thought I'd try something like that.
Man.
More Kill la Kill stuff. This was another sexy Sunday that I did. Looking back on the drawing one, it's still pretty good. I'm still pretty proud of this one. I think this one, it was something about furries.
Yeah. And you did, like, the horse is a pony from My Little Pony?
Yeah, the later one has wings and it's got markings from...
But I remember we didn't know anything about My Little Pony, so apparently this is a girl pony?
Yeah. And it's like, and then I made it into a male because it's mounting this guy over here. But I don't know. I think it still works because there's lots of gender benders out there from what I've seen of fan art. Here is, I think we all know what this is. This is actually one of the sexy Sundays that got me into trouble. And this was the early version of it, the very start. It's just like I'm thinking, like, it's like they're all businessmen, and then they're all just sort of checking out this prop, which is a girl that's been butchered. And it's just like, they're just very calm about it.
That's
like, oh.
not funny, Jeff. I'm Bob. That's not funny.
Okay, I'll move on.
No, you can explain yourself.
Okay. Well, basically, it's just like, I was just really pushing the limits on this one. And just saying, like, how far can I go? And then this was the start of it. I think later on we'll be able to see more of that. This was another sexy Sunday. I think it's Synthol Man.
Yeah.
This one is interesting because this was actually, there's a sexy Sunday that has a toothbrush, and then and it's like half toothbrush, half girl. But this was the original version. It's a mermaid, except instead of a mermaid tail, it's just a foot. And this got turned into the one with the toothbrush. Like, as you can see here, this is like a more finished version, and it's just a foot mermaid, basically.
So, what's going on here?
Here is, I'm learning from my very great mentor, Peter Gray. I can't stress...
Oh, the master.
Yeah, it's just like, Kim Jong-gi, that's nobody compared to this guy.
Ah! Sorry. A physical reaction to that.
I think that's reasonable considering who we're referring to. But yeah, this, I think this...
Anyway.
Let's move on from that.
Yes.
Here's another aborted sexy Sunday. The original idea was basically a female with goat legs and a goat with female legs, but ultimately scrapped this one. This is another scrapped one.
A lot of abortions lately.
Yeah, a lot of abortions, a lot of them. They're needed every once in a while. And it's basically some guy sucking off a goat or a cow. And for this one, they're doing a 69 version.
Oh God.
And here is the more finished version. But originally it was a guy, like just
there was a guy. There's a guy in a suit, right?
Yeah, there was a guy in a suit at one point. Here it's just like...
wasn't there a real photo of a guy in a suit?
Oh, there was! There was a photo of a guy in a suit sucking off a cow.
Well, it's not sucking off, it's
just, it's drinking the milk, I think.
But yeah.
Yeah. But basically, that's what it was. And then, for here, I just made it into a guy, but it's just like, oh no, it's gotta be sexy. So I tried to put a girl in there, but I just felt as though it wasn't working. And here we go into the toothbrush version, which is what the foot mermaid turned into. And as you can see here, that's, what it is. Oh, and here we go. This is back to the Sexy Sunday that got me into trouble. So this is me just like looking at the 50s stuff and trying to go like, oh, how would 50s advertisement look like? And then I looked up like 50s advertisement, and they had a lot of sexist stuff. Like, I didn't have to exaggerate a lot of it. There's this one of like, it was showing like a foot, and then there's a woman that's on the ground on the carpet, and then it was showing off her shoes, like her slippers. But the tagline was saying, "Put her in her place." And I'm like, man, the 50s were so sexist.
I think there were a lot of ists.
Yeah, there were a lot of ists in there, and then I thought I could, integrate that into the Sexy Sunday and make it even more extreme. But there's a lot more of that. There's like I think this is another version of the poster. There's just some sketches. Here was when I was looking at Robert Valley. Yeah. Just the stretched perspective and stuff like that. And this one we go to the foreground.
Jacques.
Yeah, more Jacques. He's the character that I can always return to. And here we go. There's a bit more of the finish of the controversial Sexy Sunday. This is me cleaning it up. And here is the original version. There's two versions. There's one that's this, and then there's one that's this. This one is like...
Okay, do it.
Do my voice, okay. 50s voice coming up. Wife and daughter at your ear, have no fear. Cut off her limbs and put her mouth to use.
Why are there two T's in cut?
Two T's. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Like, there should have just been one, but there was two, but,
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, that was a mistake. So that's the original one. And then here's the newer one. My wife was allergic to fellatio. All she said was no. Then I got an Acme blowjob kit. Now she's always up for the job.
So it's pretty understandable why this was controversial.
Yeah, this one was pretty controversial. This one's just like, okay, I pushed it too far. But yeah, like this one was really brutal. This one actually was kind of worse because it's like, it's kind of coy about it. So then it was just like, it was much more violent. So it's like, this one was not good. But moving on, we're back to Jacques, and then I was really taking a look at Robert Valley on this one. Just to get the style, more Jacques. Some more Jacques, some compositions. This is the ball bras one for the Sexy Sundays, where the old men have ball bras. This was some stuff for some work. Back to the ball bras. Some more work stuff. Some more ball bras. And this was a study of Kim Jong-gi, and I wish I could do half of the stuff that he did. Some more studies of Kim Jong-gi. Some more drawings, some arms, some clothing. Some more perspective stuff. This was another prompt, and this is I think when I started doing the Meatbag sketches that were just like daily, because like
Meatbag daily specials.
Yeah. Because like the normal sketches for the Meatbags were taking a really long time. So then for the easier ones, I was just going like, oh, maybe I could do it really quickly. So yeah, there's that. Some more studies. This one is like about puppets.
This one is so good.
Yeah. This one, I think I really got lucky with this one. This one was pretty good. I really like it. And this is the one afterwards with like, I drew some other characters sort of in that like toy style. Like this one, so yeah, this one was pretty good. Some more Unity stuff, and to do some screaming faces. Some Legend of Zelda characters. And here is some of the screaming sketches that I have, where it's just basically characters in different poses of screaming faces. This one I just did like on a whim, but I got some really positive reactions from this, so I was just like, maybe I should do more of these. Okay, so this one is moving a bit more into female anatomy, except I think with this one, what I was doing is just that I was looking at how Kill la Kill did woman, and I'm going like, okay, so how would this fit with like normal anatomy? How could I incorporate like a bit of anatomy into this? And so this was just that sort of experiment. Here we have more.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
These top two are really nice, and like I think I really got encouraged to do more of these screaming faces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just like people seem to really like them. It's just and like for me, I when I first when I show people, they'd be like, "Oh wow, that's really cool." I'm just gonna really this is for me. It's just the same thing every time. I just draw a screaming face.
How
And
come?
then it's like because I've always been drawing screaming faces, so it's just like I draw a screaming face and then like I might do it in different shapes, and then I do like different poses like mouth open, mouth closed, that kind of stuff, and then apparently personalities just seem to emerge from them. Like you told me that like you see different personalities within these screaming faces, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm not even conscious of going like, oh, this screaming face is going to have this personality. This screaming face is going to have that personality. It's just like no, they just emerge from whatever random shape I use.
Yeah.
And like I've been getting like some like answers, like oh, can we like can we get some of these? And I'm just like thinking, well, maybe I should like. I'm like even thinking about like I don't know like making a book out of these or something, or like a wallpaper and stuff like that. Just
I
like
think if you made something out of it, it would be really good. Like I would like an art book with these, or like prints or something.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, like if people are willing to like get like if I make an art book and people are willing to get one, it's like okay, sure, why not? Just create a compilation of these. So yeah, this really started my screaming faces thing. And here's some studies of like women from 50s and stuff like that, just their designs. Same thing, and I don't really do a lot of screaming faces in these, but it is sort of like getting there, like even with these, like this one.
Yeah.
Let's move on. This one is just a scene of like some robots at a robot junkyard. Some more of this, some more experiments.
Nice.
And,
There's
yeah,
some really good shapes in these.
Yeah, like
Those were good shapes, but the
yeah,
one after, it's just I think, man,
yeah,
you're doing like these ones, man.
Yeah.
The top.
yeah. Like it was just like I really just started to experiment. There's this thing of like when I draw screaming faces, it's like it's the same thing over and over and over. So then what happened is I get bored, and then I just go like, well, let me experiment. Let me do this different shape, and it forces you to experiment with different things. And that really gets back the shape language in a lot of ways.
That's why I really encourage people to do the same thing over and over again. Because when you get bored, you will become creative.
Yeah. It's like it forces you into that headspace. It's just like, what other thing can I do with this? So yeah, here's when I'm getting to more screaming faces. This is when I was doing like some Victorian era stuff and some other characters. Some more screaming face. Oh yeah, I really like this character. He's really cool.
Are you putting these on your DeviantArt?
Yeah, I've already put some of these in my DeviantArt. Yeah.
And
Yeah. There's some screaming faces. Here are some more. Let me go from the bottom here. Yeah. These top ones are just some fashion stuff. There's Jacques again.
it's looking nice, and it's looking a lot more consistent. I don't know if it's because you're using the same color pen and the same background paper.
I think that has a lot to do with it, and it's just like the style is becoming more consistent. Because like before, like with my earlier stuff, I was really jumping around a lot. Like there's like
Well, yeah, like where you started with the painting your hand and self-portraits and stuff.
Yeah, and then it's like even the color is just jumping around. But like I'm getting much more consistent now. I'm really starting to nail down, like what my style is, what I can do. And it's like once when you become consistent, you focus on that one thing. That one thing becomes really good, really fast. There's some more screaming faces. I can zoom in just to show a little bit more of it. And there's Jacques. Some more screaming faces. And more screaming faces. And some more. This one, like going back to the experimenting one, I was doing a lot of screaming faces, but I was just like thinking, well, why don't I do them in perspective a bit? And this is just what sort of happened. And it's just like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
It's just sort of repetition, It really gets things going. And here is more screaming faces, and
Man, that's the one with the conversation.
Yeah.
Like
Like this
I
guy.
feel like they're having a conversation.
Okay, which one's which again?
So the one on the far right is saying some story.
Yeah.
Like blah blah blah. I was like, and then that's the guy drew this horrible picture of this girl, and oh, wife and daughter at your no way.
Yeah.
The other one's like, oh my god.
This one's going like, oh my god, right?
Yeah, that's a horrible story.
Yeah. So yeah, like the screaming faces are really working out. This one's getting into more perspective stuff. This one's really perspective like.
Yeah, that was
I
cool.
think yeah, Cynics and the others really liked it a lot.
The others.
The others. Yeah. That one I think is there an earlier drawing of that one? Yeah, okay. This one eventually became an inspiration for another Sexy Sunday. Here's some more screaming faces. Here's the composition for the Sexy Sundays, which, you know, in my opinion, is one of the weaker ones. Oh, here's some more screaming faces.
Man, I think the top one of this one is the most, like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it is one of the most extreme versions.
It's stunning.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, once again, repetition. It's like, okay, the concept of the screaming face is just for like, how far can I push this now? What else can I do with it?
Yeah.
It's just
like if you had stopped and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm doing screaming faces, now I'm going to try something completely different, you never would have gotten to this point.
Yeah, there's layers of tackling a subject.
Yeah.
You know, there's like the superficial one, and then you get experimental, and then you really push it. And yeah, there's something to be said about just doing something over and over again.
A lot to
Yeah.
be said of that.
Yeah. So here's some more screaming faces. And this is one of the Sexy Sunday stuff. Some more, not as much screaming faces, but just like other things. You know,
Yeah.
just take a break from it every once in a while. And yeah, this is funny. I was talking to Will Terrell, and then he was like mentioning something about meat, and then subconsciously I just drew meat. Like I drew this big steak, and then I just kept on drawing meat. It's just like, oh, more meat, and then it was just a page full of meat. Let's see, some weird faces here, and some more Jacques, different styles, and then here's just some more. I put the screaming faces in different scenarios. Like this one, he has a tie. He's at the bus stop or something with all these other shapes going to work. This one's really dumb. He's holding something, but I don't remember what it is. I think it's a really tiny suitcase, or I'm not sure. This one is the screaming face in bed. This one's like cut toast, and then this one's sort of the same thing except in different angles. There's some screaming face that's sort of like a
It's
match.
like a lighter.
Yeah, a lighter. There we go. That's what it is. And then there's Jacques in like different types of clothes, and these are different characters. That kind of stuff. Some more Jacques and some screaming faces. Here's when I got Jacques back. Here is when I took a look at the original drawing of Jacques and going like, oh, so that's what he looks like. And what happened with the painted version was that I couldn't see the drawn lines. So I didn't know which part of Jacques was the drawing. So I just drew the painting. But that didn't work. So when I got the original drawing backs of Jacques back, then I was able to draw him again. Some more screaming faces. Let's see. I really like this guy. I think I did him really well. Some more screaming faces as well. Oh, and this is when I started getting a lot more loose. This is when I started going like when I took a look back at some of my older stuff, it's just like some of the stuff was really good, and it's just why? And it's like, oh, it's because of animation. I was loose. I wasn't too worried about painting and stuff like that. So like with this, I was just really trying to get back into it. Just like, okay, loose it up, exaggerate it, just push things more, basically. And it just became much more appealing. Some more screaming faces, and here I'm starting to get into anatomy. Like I'm really trying to figure out, okay, enough is enough. My drawings are like, when I draw the anatomy, it's really loosey-goosey. It's weird, and so it's just like, okay, I need to figure out how to do anatomy. Mm-hmm. And from this point onwards, I really started going into it. And I think from later on, you can even see that, like even here, I do some anatomy, except there's some screaming faces here.
Well,
but
those
here's
are really
anatomy
cool
again.
That 1 second from the top?
Yeah, this one, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, same thing. Repetition. It gets you far. But yeah, here's a lot more anatomy, and it's like I do so much of these, you know.
There's funny ones.
Oh, which one? Which one?
The one in the third box down.
Oh, third box down. This one.
Yeah, on the right.
Yeah.
He looks like, I don't know, like he's pooing.
I think when like I draw these faces, it's like they're either really angry or they're really constipated. But yeah. There's some more anatomy, more screaming faces, and there's more anatomy again. And it's just like I do so much of the anatomy just because it's just like you need to do a lot to be able to get it into your head. It's like same with the screaming faces. Repetition, doing something over and over again until you really start understanding it.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, for like left brain activities, people will often study where they just repeat facts in their head. They'll read something over and over again, make flashcards. Mm-hmm. Well, with drawing, it's more like you're training a part of your brain that you don't get direct contact with, so you just have to do things over and over again, and then it gets built into muscle memory and also your visual library. So
so yeah, just like do a lot basically, over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And here's more.
Whoa, look at the bottom ones.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This one's pretty cohesive, I think.
Yeah, I think that would make a good wallpaper.
Yeah. And then we just scroll this up for the audience, and there we go. There's more anatomy, screaming faces, some anatomy, some more anatomy, and as you can see, I'm really trying to learn anatomy here. Mm-hmm. And screaming faces, anatomy, screaming faces, and with the screaming faces here, I'm just sort of like, I found out that like drawing something that's so simple for me, that's just unconscious, is like a really good way of warming up your arm when you draw, and that's something that's really interesting. It's like, you know, like when you go out for an exercise. You know, it's like you warm up, so you get the blood flowing. Well, for drawing, it's the same thing. Get blood into your arm, into your wrist, and it's just like, you know, you draw better afterwards. Mm-hmm. Some more anatomy stuff, and trying to do it in different poses. More screen faces. And this year, I just got bored, so I just drew a mouth with eyeballs on the nipples. Yeah. Some more anatomy. A lot of penises on these anatomy. And here I'm like thinking, okay, I've drawn the upper body for a while now. Let's try it on some life drawing models. See how much of it I can incorporate. And what I found out is that when I really started knowing where the muscles are, it was so much easier to identify the muscles and the stuff on the life drawing models. Whereas before, it's just sort of like I make this vague shape and I go like, I guess this is the rib cage. I guess this is the torso. I guess these are the pecs. But it's like now it's just like, no, this is the pecs, this is like, you know, the rib cage and stuff like that, and I can really nail it down. Yeah. It just becomes much more easier and faster. Yeah. So, yeah, same thing with these.
But it's not for free. It's like you have to do those anatomy studies over and over again to be able to get this.
Yeah, yeah.
Repetition. I think that's the thing, like people don't get how much behind the scenes repetition there is. Yeah. And even the fact that like, oh, someone could say, oh well, but you could draw a decent figure to begin with, that's why you can do so many repetitive studies, but it's like that's because you did repetitive studies on basic shapes, and then you could draw the basic shapes, and then you did repetitive studies on the next thing and the next thing. Yeah, and it builds up.
And as you can see from my paintings and those self-portraits, it's just like those were really hard for me, and you can see it. It's just like I was really struggling there, but it's like you have to start somewhere, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing with these. It's just like when I first started anatomy, it's just like I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's just like you keep doing it, and then it's like okay, then you start recognizing it. You start taking it in. Some more anatomy, more screaming faces, and here, and this one I was just messing around because I was bored. Yeah.
There's funny ones in the bottom.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes you just need to let loose and mess around.
Yeah.
But once again, a lot of anatomy stuff. More screaming faces, anatomy, some weird elf creatures or goblins, I suppose. I don't know. I like drawing pointy ears. It's a nice shape. Some more anatomy, Some more scrolling faces. More anatomy. More anatomy.
So how long does it take to do when you do the figure drawings? Like, are those 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes or?
I start off with like 30 seconds just to warm things up, because I remember doing that in film school, of where it's just like you draw some poses for 30 seconds and you just get the most basic stuff down, the shapes, the line of action, stuff like that. That's just to warm up, but it's also to help you realize, okay, get the energy into the bodies, you know, because you start off rough and then you build up. And then after a while, 30 seconds, I move on to like 2 minutes. Then I might move on to 3 minutes or 5 minutes and that kind of stuff. That's how I go with life drawing. Yeah. There's some more screaming faces, and here, like this anatomy is sort of nonsense. But like because I started getting an idea of the upper body, it's like I can start playing around with it a little bit. There's some more screaming faces, and here, for example. It's just sort of like you can sort of feel the anatomy that's there, but it's just sort of nonsense. But it's because that I know about the anatomy that I can sort of play around with it a bit more, and then it still looks kind of cohesive.
I really like the ones with black eyes.
Yeah, this one was interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. It looks bug-like.
Yeah, I was looking at a spider, actually. It's just going like, well, spiders are interesting. They're kind of creepy, and then I took a look at spiders, going like, okay, what proportions do spiders have? And then I incorporated it into my screaming faces. This is just some more anatomy stuff, but
the one on the top is awesome.
Yeah, this is when I started playing around with it, and it's just sort of like, you know, learning anatomy is great and all, and you know, it's just like you're copying and you're trying to receive information, but it's just like it's when you start experimenting with it, when you start playing around with it, that's like then it gets interesting.
Yeah,
it's like here, I really exaggerated certain features, but it's just like, oh, it still looks pretty good. Here's some more practice stuff. Oh, here I was just drawing bean shapes, just like sandbags and stuff like that, just so it's like, okay. I got the bean shape when I was in film school, and it was a while since I did the bean shape, so it's just like, okay, try to get that back. Do the beanbag things. Here are some more screaming faces. Some more screaming faces. This one I really liked. And yeah, repetition. A lot of...
So now you're on legs?
Yep, I have moved on to legs. And it's just like after a while you just get comfortable enough that's just like, okay, I can draw this thing off, you know, the top of my head. And then that's when I move on. And here I'm experimenting with the anatomy, going like, okay, what's more appealing, something more realistic or something more simplified? Like I'm experimenting
really like
on
some of these ones.
Yeah.
Like the one you give in X2 I really like, and I like the ones with the big gorilla arms.
Yeah. Those are just like it's like experimenting. And here's the thing that's really interesting. Like I know that there's a lot of times that there are people out there that just say study. It's just like, well, what does study mean? It's just like study usually just means receiving information, taking in information. But it's just like, well, that's very passive. You're not really doing anything with that information. So it's just like it's experimenting. That's where it's really at. Research, experiment. Like be like a scientist. Take it to the lab, experiment with it. And then once when you do that, you open up worlds. You know, that's when you really start thinking like, do I really know this thing, or is it just because I copied it?
Yeah, I remember Craig Mullins was talking about this a long time ago. He said something about, and he was doing it in painting, so this is in terms of like painting realistic stuff. He said, well, if you think you know something, like paint the scene, and then move one of the objects in the scene, and it should like figure out how the lighting will change and everything, so that exists within that. So it's not like you're not just copying stuff, you're not just doing figure drawing and it's like, oh, what am I doing? I'm drawing this figure. No, you should be able to control that. You should be able to make the figure in any pose you want and turn them any way you want.
Yeah. So yeah, like research and experimentation really comes into that.
Yeah, and building up your mileage is so essential.
Yeah. You got to do a lot. And like here I'm experimenting with like a lot of shapes, but on this one I think I made a bit of a fatal mistake in which I was taking a look at another artist and I was just like thinking, oh, I can get something from that other artist, but like what happened was that I actually lost sight of myself a little bit. So like all the things on the top here,
we'll zoom into them.
Yeah.
Like, do
Like
do a slow pan, cause
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's definitely once you build up more mileage, and especially once you practice your own style more, it becomes ever more detrimental to be looking at other artists and getting influence until you reach a certain point where you're just taking a little bit from them. You're not actually copying them, because you can get sidetracked very easily. And in the beginning, it's really important to experiment. So yeah, in the beginning you were doing like paintings and stuff, but there is a time where it's, who am I and what do I like to do, and do I even like doing this? Do I want to do this? And for some people it's like yes, and for other people it's no.
Yeah. It's really this thing. It's like once when you nail down what you really want to do, just focus on that.
Yeah.
Know?
And what you want to do shouldn't be that bad. Like, it should be easier to practice because it should be enjoyable. Because when I used to study, it used to be very much that feeling of it was painful, but then I would remember no pain, no gain. And so I would think, like, well, I guess it's supposed to be painful. It's supposed to be really annoying. But it's not quite the case, because when you're interested in stuff, even though you're doing so many variations, so much repetition, it doesn't feel bad. It just feels like, oh, okay, I'm learning something new. Oh, let me see if I can do it. Oh, what little things am I... Like, it's actually engaging. It should feel engaging. And I wish I knew that earlier on, because then I would have not gone down the painting road, and I would have just stuck with drawing much sooner.
Yeah. So, and it's... Yeah, that's just how it is. And it's like this thing, like, if you get good at something, then it'll be easier to branch out into other things, you know? Okay, so there's some more these experiments, just like playing with this shape and everything.
Yeah, your shapes are getting much better.
Yeah.
So for instance, okay, so go back to the prior one.
Okay.
And zoom into the bottom of the cape, or the coat.
Bottom of the coat. This one.
Not that one, because that one's decent. The top ones, where it wasn't working so well. So we can talk about like what I mean by the shapes are getting better.
Okay.
So zoom into the top row. And okay, so when you look at the top of the shapes, very sharp, very rigid. And then at the bottom it gets kind of loose and flowy, but it's like two different design languages.
Yeah.
And they're almost clashing. And then as you go to the right, you're fixing it. You're getting a stronger design sense where it's more cohesive. It's like, this guy's angular. And then in the next page, I feel like you really fixed it.
Yeah.
Where it feels solid. It feels cohesive. It's one design. It's not two designs that are fighting each other.
Yeah.
And it's really important to get big, basic shapes down and then break them down into smaller and smaller shapes.
Yeah. And here's some more experiments. I was just like doing one type of character, and then I was going like, oh, what if I made him fat? And then, I went into this, and at the end I just go like, oh, what if he's, really small? And this, I'm moving on to the arms, and as you can see, I'm doing a lot of arms. Once again, repetition. Lots of arms. And I think this is the end, yeah. Oh, wait. This is the this is the Harry Potter one. So what happened here is I was drawing this character, and then he looked like some sort of university graduate. I'm just like thinking he would look really good with glasses, so I put glasses on him, and then he turned into Harry Potter. So then I just decided to draw Harry Potter. But yeah, okay, I think that's it.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for sharing, and I wonder if anybody stuck around this long, but if they did, congratulations, you've made it.
Yeah, you made it, man.
I would say you get a prize, but...
You get nothing.
Alright, so... Thank you, Bob.
No problem.
And thanks for watching.
See ya.